Personally, I've spent most of the conference worrying about this speech. I usually prefer to be a behind-the-scenes leader. So for the few days, I just kept thinking, can't I get this over with? And why do I have to wait till the end of the conference? I was concerned about what to say and how long, and I was particularly worried when I realized there were bets going on about when I would drop the gavel. I just want you to know that I got in on that, and I'm at 10:10, so sit back. No, seriously. I was listening to the news the other day and learned that during this banquet, we will gain a leap second. Anyone hear that news story? So I also thought that was a signal from the universe that I could talk as long as I want, because they added an extra second to my time up here. No, that's not going to be an issue. I'm going to try and get off this stage as quickly as I can. But I did start to think about my speech differently at that point. I decided that I'm not going to settle for just being the caboose on this conference train. We are all in higher education, and we're all familiar with commencement. So I have declared this the commencement activity of this conference. So if you all get to be graduates, I get to be the commencement speaker. And as we know, commencement speeches are full of all kinds of wisdom about it's not a finish line, it's a launching pad, and other cliches. And I'm not typically a cliche kind of guy. But cliches in them remain some kernel of truth. In 1949, S. Earl Thompson, the then director of housing at University of Illinois, proposed a meeting for campus housing officers to discuss ways they could serve the students that were returning to campus. There were 62 housing officers at that first conference, and apparently it went pretty well because they did it again the next year at Purdue. It wasn't until the following year, in 1951, at Michigan State, that our association was formed. This means we have a history of some pretty noteworthy things happening at our annual conferences. In fact, the early conferences were indeed the commencement of ACUHO-I. Tonight, I am proud to announce that there are a number of initiatives, milestones, and accomplishments that we can look forward to commencing in the coming months. Some of these modifications will be operational, but the biggest changes, though, the ones that I'm most excited about, are those that will grow out of our recently completed and approved strategic plan. The strategic plan will be the cornerstone that we build upon for ACUHO-I's future. This plan is purposeful, measurable, and actionable. It will provide direction for the future and cement our vision as we work to advance the campus housing profession in the service of students. The cards on your table include a description of our shared and desired future. We encourage you to take these cards back to your campuses as a reminder that as you pursue your work and face the daily challenges in front of you, that ACUHO-I supports you. Together, we will envision and achieve a time where the value of the student residential experience will be acknowledged universally, and ACUHO-I will be a trusted knowledge source that moves, educates, and inspires the campus housing profession. The material used to form the cornerstone came from input from hundreds of you who answered surveys, participated in focus groups, shared your needs and desires for what ACUHO-I could do. From that, we began to envision a future where ACUHO-I is the leading curator of research on the residential experience. The benefits and outcomes of the residential experience are validated through data. ACUHO-I influences public policy on issues related to campus housing. And ACUHO-I provides an inclusive and accessible community that will allow individuals to develop their professional identity. These visions of the future, along with many, many others, are distilled down into the 4 goals included on the cards. The first of these goals involves education. We will work to ensure that the campus housing profession will be prepared to impact and transform higher education through ACUHO-I's engagement in educational offerings, services, and leadership. We know that many of you are being asked to do more than ever on your campuses. Many times, these new tasks, or other duties as assigned, might not be items that were addressed in your graduate preparation programs. So where do you learn how to best address these items? ACUHO-I is working to increase our capacity and to decrease our time to market for high priority program resources. We will audit our current educational programs to see that we address all of the knowledge domains through our educational events and resources. At the same time, while we explore the breadth of the profession, we must also explore the depth and meet the needs of members in both areas of content and their career trajectory from early career to senior level. Just as one example, this year marks the 25th anniversary of the James C. Grimm National Training Institute. The individuals and institutions that have hosted through the years have done so with tremendous passion and commitment to creating a transformative experience. However, we recognize that each year, for every one member who's admitted, there were 2 or 3 other interested people that were not able to be selected. Well, this time next year, there will be 72 people who can call themselves NHTI alumni, because in 2016, NHTI will be hosted on 2 campuses, in addition to the Rolf Visser SHTI Institute in South Africa. We should be incredibly proud that we are doing this, and I offer many thanks to the volunteers who have made this happen. The second goal of our strategic plan is built around knowledge resources. The campus housing profession will advance purposefully through our cultivation, generation, and dissemination of knowledge resources. Knowledge is key. As we do our jobs, knowledge separates a hunch from a strategy, elevates an anecdote into a data point, and allows us to pursue a course of action with confidence, and it justifies our programs, policies, and procedures. Our work towards this goal begins with the creation of and promotion of our research agenda that clarifies and advances the highest priority topics facing us as campus housing professionals. Tom illustrated those earlier. Led by the research committee, we as an association have identified those issues that most need to be answered. But just asking the question is not enough. ACUHO-I, with welcome support from our ACUHO-I Foundation, is literally putting its money where its mouth is. Through September 1st, we are accepting individual requests for research funding grants of up to $7,000. We are actively seeking and recruiting faculty, graduate students, and practitioners to join us in turning data into knowledge and answering these important questions. I hope some of you, based on the oohs, are interested, and check out the website for further details on this important new initiative. Another question by applause: how many of you value survey data and benchmarking in your professional lives? Now, by applause, how many of you answer every survey that pops in your inbox? Not bad, but not quite as many as clap for the first one. If ACUHO-I is to provide information and knowledge that you say you need, we need to close that gap. Another example, the past 6 months, ACUHO-I has been collecting data from our operational survey that addresses areas such as occupancy, conference services, and other important areas. About 400 schools have responded to at least one section of that survey. And that's encouraging, but the fact is that we need more data, and we need to do better when we have opportunities to provide that data. So, we've extended the deadline till the end of the month. So when you go back to campus, if you got nothing else to do, go ahead and fill that out. But we really need to get better at if we want the data, we need to cultivate the data. We need the data. We are the ones who have the data, and as housing professionals, we are certainly aware of the reality of survey fatigue. But we must nurture our culture of sharing, transparency, and openness to get the data so that we all can benefit. Our third goal addresses community. By its definition, an association must be a community. The campus housing profession will benefit from the expanded opportunities and engagement and connection that transcend practice, affinity, geography, and career level. ACUHO-I's membership is primarily held by institutions and companies, but every single one of the members on our campuses and in our companies are members of ACUHO-I. Unfortunately, that's not always made clear and well understood. The odds are that there are people back on your campuses or in your companies who don't realize they are ACUHO-I members. We will work to enhance the communication of what it means to be an engaged housing campus professional and a connected member of ACUHO-I. We are also expanding the opportunities for meaningful and accessible engagement. In the last month, we launched our new online community. By applause, who has visited and joined at least one community? These communities are a place to ask questions and network, and it will empower communities of practice around ACUHO-I's knowledge domains, as well as different affinity groups. Understand that ACUHO has provided the platform, but we are the ones that need to grow the community. I don't need to explain this to you. Building communities is what we do in our halls every day, and we all know that community doesn't just happen. The community is a place where you should go to ask your questions and request input from others. Look to this resource when you would traditionally send an email to a listserv or place a phone call to a valued colleague. Let the power of the crowd answer your questions. Also take the time to go there when you don't have a question and provide your input to those who do. Your input is priceless. Finally, we need to make it abundantly clear that regardless of what job title or responsibilities are within your purview, ACUHO-I is where you belong. Regardless of where you are in the world and where you practice our profession, ACUHO-I is where you belong. Regardless of your race or gender, ACUHO-I is where you belong. Regardless of your sexual identity or gender expression, ACUHO-I is where you belong. And regardless of how long you have been a professional, ACUHO-I is where you belong. We are ACUHO-I, and this is where we belong. Our fourth goal puts an increased emphasis on promoting influential leadership and advocacy. This is the area of greatest progression from where ACUHO has tackled past endeavors and comes directly from the feedback we heard from all of you. Again, as Tom reported, you told us that you wanted and needed ACUHO-I to be more out front on issues that shape our work. ACUHO-I will be more external, more connected, more visible, and a stronger advocate. We will share our collective expertise to influence policies and laws where possible. Just this year, Kathy Bush-Hobgood from Clemson and Steve Weller from Louisiana State sat with representatives from the Internal Revenue Service to explain the concerns and questions our profession has regarding the Affordable Care Act and its impact on our student workers. In addition, Tom was part of a White House meeting with the First Lady's Chief of Staff to discuss It's On Us, a program to combat sexual assault on campuses. These were amazing opportunities and have given ACUHO-I a voice at the table. And we must continue to make sure that the housing professional's voice is heard no matter what the conversation on the campus, local, national, or global level. Even though we can't always create change, we can at a minimum educate our members on the issues, their impact, and the potential response strategies. Again, this is an area where we need your assistance. We have people at the home office who can scan the environment for issues, but we need to know about emerging issues before they hit the Chronicle or the evening news. We need the collective ear of this association to be kept to the ground and raise the flag when needed. The cornerstone is the first block laid in the construction of a new building. It orients everything that comes after it, but that doesn't mean there are not still opportunities for added features or embellishments. As we make progress towards these four goals, we will continually assess factors, both internal and external. We will listen to feedback. We will utilize our knowledge-based governance to ensure the path and our priorities remain true. To continue the construction metaphor, we will measure twice and cut once. As I wrap up, I do so with growing excitement. The cornerstone has been set. The path forward has been carefully constructed. Together we will build a stronger campus housing profession. Together we will build a more meaningful ACUHO-I. It is time to commence yet again. I invite you to switch your tassel and join in the good work of our association. And with that, I will declare the 2015 Conference officially adjourned.